Hello everyone, it's Jennifer Sampou here with Maker's Chat. And my special guest today is actually in studio, Michelle Wyman. And thrilled to have you here.
It's so fun to be here. Oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful space and it's just great to be where it all happens.
So thank you for coming. She came up from the Santa Cruz Mountains today. Michelle is a very dear friend of mine and we have years of history together. Yeah. Right? I mean, how many years have we been hanging out?
I don't know, like 7 or 8.
Something like that.
But it's,
a lot, yeah. And so we've gone through many different design processes together, friendship. We talk about our kids. We talk about our work. We talk about life, all kinds of stuff. We talk about politics. We talk about everything. Nothing is off the board.
Right.
Absolutely. Nothing is
but, it was this pattern that kind of brought us together.
Well, it was.
I just thought of it.
Yeah.
Right?
So the first time that Michelle and I met was you came and took a class with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Octagon Shimmer was making this.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
And then she went ahead to work with me in workshops.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle is a very gifted maker. And she recently, she was only 15 minutes from me. We were through the tunnel. And then about a year and a half ago, she moved to Santa Cruz. So today is about Michelle, her process, how she and I have worked together, but really about how she's worked with my fabrics.
Yeah, actually, and I'm not getting paid to say this, but I have to say that the Sky Ombres, when I first, they were, you hadn't made them yet. You hadn't created them yet.
No.
So this pattern I loved, because I love the idea of taking a traditional pattern like you've done, and then you sort of blew it up and then are using different techniques to make it more contemporary, contemporary modern. So I love that. That resonates with me, and that's kind of the direction I took after I took your workshop. But then when I first saw the Sky Ombres, it took my breath away.
Yeah.
Because for me, my mom's a painter, and I love art. And so it was combining this, quilt making art with fabric that is art. It's artwork. Yeah. So that's a basic in my studio, but I don't even like the word basic. It was a little acorn dropping. There's acorns
dropping everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we'll hear a squirrel in about 3 seconds getting the acorn.
Yeah. Or fighting with another squirrel. Yeah. So speaking of squirrels, focus. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit like that, folks. But no, really, the Sky Ombres are so beautiful. But then when you asked me to take the 12 new and then some of the
chalk and
charcoals and create something for the lookbook, we had just moved to our property up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and it was, I think, December, January, dark, cold, rainy. We had a really harsh winter in California.
Yes.
And so I kind of, the discipline for me was trying to use all of the chalk and charcoal that was going to be released by Robert Kaufman.
Yes.
And not go overboard with the Sky Ombres.
Well, right. So I had asked Michelle, can you mix the new chalk and charcoal with the Sky Ombres? And of course she said, of course I can. Mm-hmm. And so that was the start of the process. So it was the 12 new colors in chalk and charcoal, which is the texture. And then was limiting, like, don't overuse the sky, because I know she's a total sky fanatic.
I'm a sky fanatic. I'm an addict for sky. It's true. So but that's what's kind of interesting when you're a maker is, having some limitations. And the tradition of quilt making is using what you have.
Right.
And we're pretty spoiled with all of the fabrics that we've got, at our fingertips. But so it was actually really great to have some limitations. Use these 12, feature these 12.
Right.
You can use some of the other old chalk and charcoals, and then bring in some sky, but you can't let sky dominate the piece. So that was the challenge.
So, okay, so you brought in some process shots,
I did.
right? But before we get into those, let's just get a little closer look I don't know if you can pull the quilt towards the, if you guys all out there, we're going to pull the quilt a little bit towards you guys. So can we stand a little bit while we talk? Is that, are we still getting,
cut the end
yeah,
here a little bit.
Okay. So let's talk about your process. And you can either bring your pictures or talk about just the quilt.
So
it's really nice having her in studio.
Yeah, it's really fun. So, so we were trying to find a pattern, and then it was like we were all on the same page. Colette and Jennifer texted me, and I was at the same time thinking, why not use the Octagon Shimmer? And so, boom.
Right, that's true. We hadn't decided how you were going to use the chalk and charcoal and the sky, but you were going to use it.
That's right.
But we didn't know what pattern.
Exactly.
Okay.
So so the wheels are turning, and so anyway, this is my book that I had spiraled. This is Jennifer's book, Ombre Quilts, and so I love this lake. I hadn't made Sunset Lake, so I thought, well, what about using this as a jumping off point? I did a Xerox copy, and from that, what I like to do is then I cut it up and sort of played around with pattern, and then
sister.
Yeah, honey.
You do the same for me.
I know. I promise.
So you got your black and white copy.
So this is the black and white copy, and what this does is gives you the values.
Right.
So I could use this as kind of my map.
Well, you change it though. It doesn't have the dark bottom. You must have somehow.
Right. I cut that off. And I did a Xerox copy of, I cut off the lake.
Okay.
Now, that's a great lesson in value change, right? Looking at this, because you really see
I'll
the lake,
this part.
Right?
This is the dark value.
And that's the story of that.
Right. So she cut that off. So she got that out of the picture.
Right. Yeah.
To have that.
Exactly. Started playing around, and it's January, it's dark. We're losing power right and left up there.
Oh my gosh.
It's cold. And I'm thinking.
She lives on top of a hill.
Yeah.
This wind.
That's right. And I'm thinking spring will come. It will. Yeah. And so, and the fabric release was going to be in the spring. So I thought, okay, spring equinox, that's going to be my story. So, let's see, I've got a couple more photos. So, anyway, our son and his partner were living on the property with us, and Violet took this picture of me through a window one dark evening.
It was probably only 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I'm trying to
so
figure this out. It's like a puzzle, right? How can I fulfill the assignment of using the colors and then creating something different and unique? So I think I can show you a couple. And, the great thing about technology is that you and I could FaceTime.
Yes, and we were
FaceTiming. And I think, and there's one here. Oh, yeah. So then, I'm thinking about flowers. And so this was sort of one of the first kinds of iterations. And these are Xerox copies. The color's not great, but you get the idea. And
you're doing these like florals. Like they what did I say? I said, oh, they look like poinsettias.
Yes. Yes. like, no, we Christmas is gone. Christmas is past. We're looking towards spring.
Right.
So then that goes away, and we start working with the colors and grouping them a little bit. And then I know I had to bring in a lot of the browns, and a lot of times I resist that for some reason.
Right.
But that's
earth. All this corner here is the browns and the mustards.
Yeah. And that's really what's happening. And when I'm going on my walks in between storms, I'm looking at the earth and I'm seeing things pop up.
Yeah.
Life coming back. So that was exciting. And so then we get to.
So you're playing with color, you're playing with value. Mm-hmm. And what was fun, what I saw you do is you started changing the star. She stuck with the value, the deepest value being the 4 pointed stars.
Right.
But she's got red, blue, green, brown. Like her stars are all different colors, but she really had those be the deepest value.
Right. And that's what's fun about this pattern. is to be able to switch it up, where sometimes it's the octagon that is the darker value and the stars are lighter. But with this piece,
Right.
it's mostly the star shapes, which are also sort of a floral.
Yeah.
One of the first flowers to pop up is the forget-me-not in the forest.
Right.
So we have those on the property coming in, and they're kind of a blue
The
purple.
blue forget-me-nots.
So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
So nature really, really does inspire me.
Yeah.
When I'm designing, and so this piece finally evolved, and really was a group studio, Sampou and Hummingbird Studio effort, and it's really fun. It's a great quilt to make. Now the backing, you guys.
Oh yeah, the backing.
The timing ended up great because your backing, your sky ombre backing, was released in time for this.
This is Spa.
This is Spa, and it's 108 inch wide, so you don't have to piece anything, which is great.
It's really great.
Yeah.
And Hello Stitch Studio quilted.
Yes, Hello Stitch Studio with my favorite soft S curve, which goes across, and we use a really lightweight bat. It's the Respect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I love is like the top right. Can you see that, Colette?
Mm-hmm.
So what I love is how she put I believe that is part of peony. That's the light side of peony, and she pulled in the orange.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that is a light star, it's still lighter in the octagon area.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they go across, she gets down to a really dark star here, where it's the chalk and charcoal with I'm not sure what color is that. The
Ocean.
Ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean.
Yeah. Colette
knows all. And I love the texture of the chalk and charcoal with the painterly effect of the ombre. It works really, really nice together.
Absolutely. It's really fun to work together. And, you start making relationships like this, the chalk and charcoal that has a little bit of gold and yellow, then all of a sudden has a relationship.
Yes,
with
over
this.
here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It talks to everything. So a lot of times you call up and you're like, okay, well, if you're making a decision here, that part of that quilt is going to inform, picking up this hot pink again, or this deep cranberry. Mm-hmm. And so it's constantly this evolution of decision making based on the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you did a gorgeous job.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to work on and with you. The other thing is these honeys.
Oh yeah.
The light, and now we're experiencing it in fall. The light on the equinoxes is sort of, coming at an angle.
Right.
And at least in Northern California, I just find in the evenings and the mornings, the saturation of kind of a honey.
Yeah, the
gold.
warmth.
The
right?
warmth that is just so unique to this time of year. And spring.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Are you putting this on a bed? Are you gifting this, or?
I'm gonna hold on to this one. Yeah, putting it on a bed, and we're kind of playing musical beds right now because we are in the middle of repairing and remodeling our place from the storms last winter. So, yeah, pets are moving out and things are getting demoed, and
a lot of things going on.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a steady in our lives.
Yes,
and
yes.
Making has been really important. Being able to have a space to make and projects to work on. And,
So do you have anything else you want to share today?
I brought from...
Wait, do we have any questions about... Oh, yeah. Hold on. Okay. Colette's like pointing to things. I have to remind you guys. Keep us in line. So this is the templates that Michelle uses that I use. And there's the kite. It's totally beat up because I've used it a bunch. But this is the kite, which show that piece there. So you cut all your pieces out with the kite. And it's got the 1/4-inch seam allowance on it. And then this is, she cut out big pieces of the chalk and charcoal and the sky. So that's what made, and you hold that up to where it fits in. that's what made this quilt go together so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
No.
All right, maestro, por favor.
I'm like,
Help
no,
me.
hold on. This is what you did. So there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Right?
Yeah, of
Remember?
course. Yeah.
So this.
Yeah.
Oh, and you used the back side of chalk and charcoal right
did.
there.
Yes, that's what's fun. You
Okay,
can
that's
do that.
really fun.
Yeah.
She flipped over, and this is the back side of chalk and charcoal.
That's right.
And
To get the
until I get
values.
right on top of it, I didn't see it.
Uh-huh.
But to get more value.
Mm-hmm.
So she cut out oversized of this triangle based on this piece that you can use this template for. And then you trim the whole thing up. And so the way you construct your block is this becomes a block, right? And then this is a block. And then you sew these 4 blocks together. You following me, everyone out there? This is a block, this is a block, this is a block, this is a block. And that's a unit.
And the pattern really does explain that well, I think. Jennifer.
Yeah.
You know, it is hard to explain when it's up here, but yeah, the pattern really does explain.
Yeah, and you start in the top left, really. So you've got top left, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how you're building it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it looks different. It's a different finish than this.
Right.
It's one wider.
Mm-hmm. It is. So it's
a
wider.
different finish. It's a whole row wider.
Mm-hmm.
And then no flying
geese on this. Yeah.
Right.
The geese were, I don't know where they were. They'd flown south.
January. Flown south. Yes.
Yes, they did.
Because this finished size is 83 by 85.
Yeah, it's a good size.
Yeah.
It's really a good size.
Yeah, and honestly, it would probably be, it could be square as well, like 85 by 85, but I think we took the real measurement.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what's so great about this pattern is you can riff on it. You could expand it. You could add geese. You could add a border. If you want to make it, as large as the quilt that's on the cover, like a king size, you could.
Right, for king size bed or queen. Yeah. Okay, and then I wanted to show you that we have kitted Michelle's beautiful Equinox quilt. And this is the kit that you get if you order it through jennifersampou.com. And these colors, you've got the honey, the opal, I think. What's this color? Aloe.
Aloe, I love that.
Yeah, that green aloe. And I think we've got ocean. And we have the beautiful, is that blush? We have blush and peony and bison. And then all the wonderful chalk and charcoal colors. So if you want to make this beautiful quilt that Michelle created, with a little help from me.
Yeah, we created it together.
A little help from me.
Sure. Yeah.
You can find it in the shop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Really fun to make. And I think you'll find that if you do invest in the templates, like I did, this was my 4th quilt using those. And
this is how the templates get mailed.
Oh, wow.
This is how Colette mails those templates. You just have it taped up with a label with your name on it. So, yeah. Yeah, you can use the templates over and over again.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I did bring another thing to share that last time we talked, a piece from your workshop in Santa Fe, which I took.
Oh, right.
And so
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Yep, Georgia O'Keeffe. So I loved the oak leaf.
Love this.
And so I brought it back, folks. And then maybe if I'm asked back next year, maybe it'll be finished.
You will. Yeah.
But so it's obviously the piecing is complete.
Maybe step back a tiny bit.
A little bit. Okay. So
Perfect.
I'm just starting the quilting process.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah. So I'm going to do more dense quilting in the background so that the leaves pop up. Just started doing some veins in the oak leaves.
So pretty.
But,
so this was inspired by the Georgia O'Keeffe painting.
Yes.
And your story.
My story. So I lost my brother in March. It'll be 2 years this year. But
Here, let's hold it. I'll hold it.
Yeah, it was pretty soon. The workshop was pretty soon after I'd lost him. I think the workshop was in April. And I thought,
you weren't even sure if you were going to come.
I wasn't sure if I was going to come. And this is what's so, I think, powerful about healing healing process and the grieving process for me as a maker to take all of this grief and take care of myself around it, but also create a piece that is really a memorial quilt for him. So I do have a couple of photos to share. My brother and I grew up, and I have 2 more siblings too, but he and I were really close in age, and we grew up on the San Francisco Peninsula in a kind of a mid-century house that was built around an oak tree. And this is a photo of us as kids. So you can see this giant oak tree, which was kind of our playground. We climbed it. We, played all sorts of pretend games.
You were his big sister.
Yeah, by 13 months. We were really close in age. So the oak tree is really significant. Yeah, it's really significant for me. So anyway, so the oak leaves, the paintings of the oak leaves were really
powerful.
Georgia.
Georgia O'Keeffe resonated with you.
Resonated with me.
Did you know when you were coming to the workshop that that's what you're going to do?
I think I looked at, I kind of pulled out, my mom, who's an artist, has some Georgia O'Keeffe books, so I was looking through them, and that was really wonderful prep for the workshop. Right. She's so famous for the flowers, but it was fun to discover some of the other pieces, and being there and being in the museum in Santa Fe was unbelievable, great experience. Yeah. But I was kind of drawn to the oak leaves, but then it just really resonated with me. Right. When I realized that I needed to do a piece that would kind of memorialize our childhood. So the leaf paintings are gorgeous. Take a look at them if you can, because I feel like they kind of got lost amongst the flowers.
People think of Georgia O'Keeffe, they think of flowers, but she did buildings, she did big landscapes, and then so many like leaves and nuts and skull. Well, people know the skulls.
Yes. And there was at one point kind of a skull shape here.
Oh, I remember that.
But it's evolved to now just be part of the background.
All of your curves and your thin piecing of the veins. I mean, it's beautiful work, Michelle.
Oh, thanks.
Really beautiful work.
It's still in process, and there was a part of me that felt pressure to try to finish more of it for today. Yeah. And do you guys do that? Really, it's important, I think, to let things, especially a piece that's so meaningful, to let it ferment a little, let it just, so I come back to it, and it was hard for me I had to put it away for a while. Right. But it's now a joy.
Well, it's emotional.
It is. It's a very emotional process, but he was an artist, he was a musician, and so in fact I kind of felt his energy today, like, hey, go for it, share this.
But that's him talking to you. I 100%. I talk to my dad all the time. Yeah, he's been gone for 2 years. Yeah, I constantly am like, hey, Dad.
Yeah, they're with us.
Yeah, they are. You just have to open your mind and your heart and. Yeah.
Well, I think there's so much heaviness going on right now, and I know we're not going to talk about current affairs. But I think there is a correlation with making and healing, and if we can sort of stay centered and peaceful, then maybe we can be part of a greater peace movement.
Yes.
And so that's sort of my belief, and I know
100%. 100%. Yeah. And it's nice to get together. I'm so glad you're here, because it's really, it's been hard. It's, on the one hand, there's, it was just, Tara Lee was just posting this, who I interviewed a couple weeks ago. She says, I'm sauteing meat, and then I'm thinking of Gaza. I'm, still sauteing meat, and I'm thinking of Israel. And like, it's this dichotomy of like all of this heaviness, but you're still either, preparing your food, or better yet, making quilts, working with color. That it's so important to find balance. Yeah,
working in our gardens, stepping out,
in our gardens.
I'm watching a lot of
gardening.
Yeah, yeah. Keep staying grounded, and and then we'll know how we can help, because I know there will be ways.
There's been ways, right? I mean, there's so many ways that we all help. Yeah, for sure. But this is beautiful. I love it. And you've got so much brown in here. I love brown and pink.
So that's a little kind of side story that I feel like, another piece that I did for the lookbook.
Yeah.
And I had to use bison, and because it was being released. I'm like, I really don't like brown, Jennifer. Do I really have to use bison? And then by the time I was using this, I was going around the classroom. Got any bison?
That's right. That's right. You want to steal everyone else's bison at that
I'll
point.
give you some of my blossom for your bison, because I needed the bison for this piece.
Right.
And
now we were out of it too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because it was early on and we had no more fabric.
Yeah. So it was,
it's exciting.
Anyway, so always remember that color that you think you
hate or don't want.
You're going to need it.
Or don't need.
You do. All of it, because it resonates not just in the representation of a leaf, but there's something about the bison next to this.
Yes, it's so rich.
Yeah, and I always get these two mixed up.
This is Sunset and
Sundance.
Oh, Sundance. See, I even get the thank you, Colette. Colette's the only one who's got it down.
She's got it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Sundance.
So, and then, having the contrast, it recedes so that this can be a little bit further up front. So we need all the colors, and we need the light, and we need the shadow. And so I've been doing a lot of study of that in nature and taking some photos, and looking at that in art, looking at that in life.
Yeah.
The light and the shadow, we need them both, and we can't sort of only look at the light, because there are things in the shadow that are deep and rich that we need to pay attention to. At least I need to pay attention.
100%. Yeah. No. Wise woman.
Yeah. Well, the trees are teaching me a lot
up there, and there are a lot of trees up there.
I'm telling you. This is the sunshine and shadow block, right? Which I know that I've made your log cabin quilt pattern. So this is a little bit wider strips than in your pattern. But I'm really interested in taking some old images of antique quilts. And this, I'm going to say the maker's name, Susan Smith Graves, in 1860. Found this on Pinterest. Now, again, the colors, this doesn't do it justice. But I just loved this piece. And I'm thinking, what is it about it? And, about antique quilts, and there's a sort of patina, and there's a glow, and there's a fading. And I'm like, fading, glow. Okay, I'm going to use sky. Right?
Yeah.
And then, so this block is going to be another sunshine and shadow. Obviously, I haven't gotten very far, but using print. So, in other words, the chalk and charcoal and the sky are my basics, and then I'm going to bring in some prints.
I love it. And
we're going to do I'm not going to replicate Susan's lovely quilt. I wish I could meet her family and tell them she's influenced. This piece, but
it's this jumping off point for you again.
It's a jumping off point,
which is great to have that inspiration, just to kind of get you going.
Absolutely. And it's kind of something I might develop as a class. So
great.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of exciting.
Because Michelle's a teacher as well.
Yeah. So that's the light and the shadow that I've been chasing lately. And then when I'm working on the quilt that I'm stitching now,
she's done.
Well, you have to practice, and I was sort of out of practice of
I love it,
doing the free motion. So I have this practice piece on the side before I start stitching on my oak quilt, and that way, not just practicing the shape, but also testing those threads,
all the different colors.
So I was telling Jennifer that I need to hop over to the cotton patch this afternoon, because I really want to pick out lots and lots of thread colors, so that the ombre, the stitching ombres behind the ombre fabric.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
And are you using like a 50 weight or 30 weight?
50 weight on top, and then I usually use the bobbin. Actually, this This is that bottom line thread that I use in my bobbin when I'm free motion quilting.
What's the bottom line thread?
It's super thin, and I'm not sure what the weight is. But
is this the Alexanderson? I know she's got like a bobbin weight thread.
It might be. It might be. I don't know. It might be Superior threads actually that create bottom line.
It's called. Oh, so that's the brand. It's called bottom
line.
line.
Yeah, but I think it's Superior.
I mean, when
thread.
you hold the. I mean, I'm going to show this to you guys out there. When you hold the threads, can you guys see that? It's clearly that the yellow thread's thicker than the. It's a little bit heavier, which is nice.
The top thread is heavier.
Top thread's heavier.
Fortunately, my machine is good at adjusting. I have a Bernina, so I love to do my own stitching when I can. It would have. This is great. A quilt this size have professionally done. I think that helps. But for free motion, it's good to have a little practice piece. You just make a little sandwich.
Yeah, that's great.
You can test the and you
it's
can
really
test
pretty.
The colors.
Yeah.
So that's just what that's.
Do you map out what you're gonna freeform do, or do you just go?
I do kind of map it out, and what I've been doing with the oak leaf is putting it up on the design wall, kind of like you would a canvas on an easel, and then looking at it, and then sometimes I'll take a Hera marker, and I'll use some photos. I don't know if I brought them.
I don't know what a Hera marker is. I think I've got one right here. Let me show you. Keep talking.
Yeah. So then I have some photos of leaves, and I actually will have leaves in the studio, and I'll just put everything up, and I'll look, and I'll take the Hera marker and kind of look at the piece, and then mark some lines, and then if I don't like them, I can iron them out. But then I'll step back and look at that line and shape, and then go for it afterwards.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
I know we love Hera markers. This is a new tool to collect yesterday because we're starting to cut our fabric with an electric cutter.
Ooh,
and she's like, well, the chalk's not really working, or the ruler's not working. I'm like, well, just get the Hera marker.
Yeah,
and she's like, the what? Hera marker? I'm like, no, the Hera marker.
So because I have so much sky and chalk and charcoal, I have
these leftover scraps.
Yay! And Cheryl Linwood.
Yes.
Get her book. I love. Well, you have it.
Yes,
anyway,
I love her
she
book.
has a lot of improv exercises. So I just one day started pulling out my chalk and charcoal and sky leftovers, and just started following some of the steps in her book on improv, and so just creative and fun. And again, a great
red stripe down there, and your negative space is really good, right? The white I see as the negative space.
Absolutely.
And just interesting. Where are your blocks in this? Are they strips, or do you just start building units? Like how did you? Do you remember?
Yeah,
how
you just start building units, and she has a certain kind of, and I can't quite remember off the top of my head. She has a certain kind of step, that you take. And then after you start building units and you start putting them together on your design wall, then you start creating fillers, right? Because then, let's try to. It's hard to find, and that's kind of the goal, is so you can't find. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not just making this up, but you kind of want to be able to step back and not know how it was constructed.
Did you start this at a Silmar?
No.
Okay.
It looks like
5 other things that are still
It looks like it kind of goes like
like
that.
A stretch.
That's how it looks.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not sure either.
That looks
but
like
then
a
it
seam
stops.
for sure.
Yeah, there's seams. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she'll teach you how to break those lines, like this piece. You would think, oh, here's this because there's that.
Because you broke that.
So, but by sewing a little piece that's this color to this color.
Right.
Gives you the illusion that this is floating. So I think it might even be called floating squares.
Floating squares, yeah.
But
it's in the improv handbook.
Yes, it is. And she has all sorts of tutorials. And then what's fun is the binding is sky. Because, what do you choose as binding? Or, I thought face binding.
The back's fun too.
Yeah.
I love how you have that one little patch of print.
Yeah.
It's
again,
cute. There's
didn't have enough, and I was
on your label. I got to show everyone your label, Michelle. Go show them up close. That is
okay.
People love seeing labels.
So I did name this one "This and That" because it just sort of is this and that, right? It is good. And this label isn't like beautifully embroidered or anything, but that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Just label.
Just label your work.
A lot of the images I'm looking at with antique quilts on Pinterest that are influencing this upcoming class, there are no names.
I know, and that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, these are so beautiful. Who made these? What's the
Right.
story?
Right.
So, yeah, we need to remember the story.
Well, what's the story? That's actually a perfect wrap up. How are we doing with time? We're about 35 minutes in, so it's perfect wrap up because this is your story.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've had good teachers, so I've learned from the best.
Yeah, and you're a good teacher too. Yeah, and I love learning from my students too. I mean, I think it's this big soup, right? Of we all share and learn and. But I want to thank everyone for being here today and for taking the time to hear Michelle's stories.
Yeah, thank you. It's great. It's great to share.
Yeah. And make sure you guys all take care of yourselves out there. Self-care. Do your work in your studio. Turn on your music. Get involved in your color. Turn on that iron. It's getting cold in many parts of the world now. Hotter in the southern hemisphere. But keep making. Stay creative.
Keep breathing.
Yeah.